Welcome to ATN Society Watch. This is a program where we ventilate societal issues, give them aggregate attention with a view to proper solutions that will benefit humanity. And today on Society Watch, we have a number of issues. First, from Bayelsa State, SEMA says looted foodstuffs unfit for human consumption. And an insecurity, police students protest incessant robbery attacks in Oyo State. An illegal arms proliferation commission to engage 300,000 personnel to tackle arms proliferation. And on from the National Assembly, Speaker sues for peace, a dialogue between farmers headers. Well, these are the issues we'll be looking at today on Society Watch. And we have joining us lecturer and senior administrative staff, Clifford University. I will introduce them to you shortly after this break.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is to watch the blood.
I have fought a very family.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back. If you were just joining us, this is Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network. And we have with us today lecturer and senior administrative staff with Clifford University, Pastor Dr. Thompson Okochi. Thank you so much for joining us. First, let's look at our first issue from Bayelsa State. The Bayelsa State government has expressed concern over the invasion of the premises of a privately owned warehouse and described the incidents as unwarranted, saying the food items were remnants being gathered for disposal as they were no longer fit for human consumption. A statement issued by the State Emergency Management Agency on Monday said the incident happened about 7:45 p.m. on Sunday after the Director General of Baisima, Walaman Igrubia, and some personnel of the agency had left the warehouse premises. The statement reads in part, during the 2022 flood in the States, the agency used the warehouse to store food items. As part of preparations for an impending flood this year, the DG visited the premises, and in his presence, remnants of food items, notably rice and gari, that were no longer fit for consumption were collected from the warehouse and placed outside for disposal the next day. The remnants, which were swept from the floor and packed in disused bags, were less than 10 bags of rice and gari and with some broken cans of oil. For emphasis, Baisima states that the items were not fresh food palliatives and were not hoarded by the agency or the state government. Importantly, these items are unfit for human consumption, and a responsible, caring government like ours will not give Bayelsans such items as palliatives. In essence, there were really no food items to loot. So those who carted away the unfit items are please advised in their own interest not to consume them. Recall that a private warehouse in Pansia area of Yanagua used by the Bayelsa state government to store food items and other materials was on Sunday invaded by some residents of the state capital who carted away food items and other items. The items included bags of rice and gari, as well as cartons of noodles and bottled water. And they were said to be part of the relief materials donated by some concerned Nigerians during the 2022 flood disaster in the state. A very unfortunate situation, because we have a situation where hungry Bayelsans and other residents in Bayelsa have to, self-help themselves to get food, and maybe they didn't know the condition of those food items that they got from the warehouse. But right now, Bayelsa State Emergency Management Agency is coming out to say, well, those were leftovers from the 2022 flood palliatives, and they were meant to be disposed of, but were packed into disusable bags so they can be disposed of. And then people came in and invaded and took them, thinking they were good foods to be eaten. The first question that I am really asking myself is, 2022 flood, and we had people complain of not being able to access these palliatives, and then we have remnants of these palliatives, almost about 10 bags of rice and gari and oil and some noodles and all of that still in the warehouse. Doing what exactly when people were hungry from the devastation of the flood? Dr. Okochi, what is your take on that? It's happening. Like I said, I want to believe with the state SEMA, State Emergency Management Agency, that those foods were the leftovers. But why should we even have leftovers that will be disposed of when people were hungry within the time of the flood incident? Why should we have leftovers to the tune of close to 10 bags of rice, gari, and oil? Why should we have so much leftovers? And people were hungry as at the time the flood lasted, even the aftermath of the flood. Why didn't the government do anything to want to use those leftovers to meet the needs of some of the residents who probably were going through very difficult times as the aftermath of the flood? Why didn't the government consider the fact that, well, these leftover foods could serve as food consumable to some of the people? Why, in fact, why should such quantity of food be wasted in the first place? And we have people hungry. Is it that we have a habit of wasting food? Is it that we are so used to wasting these things because, nobody needs it when people actually need them in essence? What exactly is the problem? Is it right that we have such a volume of leftover foodstuffs from the 2022 flood palliatives in Bayelsa State when there were people who were hungry? We saw over the social media people bringing up posts as to the quantity of foods they received, the quantity of palliatives they received that they weren't comfortable with. Why should we have this volume of foods still there in the warehouses in Bayelsa and nobody gave them out to people? And now we're talking about disposing them of. Dr. Okochi, what is your take as to the statement by SEMA saying those foodstuffs were leftovers meant to be disposed of after the 2022 flood palliatives, and people have gone to take them now, and it's not healthy for them to eat?
Well, good afternoon, and good afternoon, viewer. You know, each time we talk about these things, our hearts bleed, because that is how Nigeria operates. We only have few inches of good news. Oftentimes, the overwhelming news coming from country, their country, Nigeria, bad news. Even though, I said, we have little talk of good news, but overwhelmingly, this is the kind of thing we have. So it is too late now for hungry people to eat that the food they have pilfered, they have looted, that it is poisonous, it is expired, it is bad, it is unsafe, it is unhealthy. It is too late. So whether they die for them, whether they die out of poisoned, expired, or they die out of abandonment and hunger, when palliatives were been given to them and they were not given, and some died, or they died out of eating what they have looted, for the people, you have killed us. That is what our government generally does. Government is usually responsible for much of the deaths that we have in our country. Well, for the looter, I am not going to cite that they go eat poison, but on the other hand, I cannot also verify that what they have stolen is expired. I am not saying it's not expired or it's not poisonous, but I have no basis now to check and to evaluate and to say, no, don't eat, it is poisonous. So for them, what they intend to do is, for me, in my own thinking as an analyst, maybe what they intend to do is, well, it may be poisonous, but who knows, God can help us and it will not kill us. So instead of throwing it away, let's see how it goes. But who caused it? Like I've always said, is government.
It is really, really unfortunate. First of all, let's even look at it. Why should we even have such volume of food from the 2022 flood palliatives be disposed of? Isn't that too much to be called waste? In a nation, in a state where we have people who are hungry, really, really hungry, isn't that too much to be wasted?
You are talking of too much, right? Which I agree with you. But you know, there's another complex aspect. You are dealing with just Bayelsa State. We have 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. So look at what you are trying to help us understand. You are helping Nigerians to understand the volume of wastage. If the remnants like that of Bayelsa is exposed, assuming we go around, assuming it was possible where the Holy Spirit, where Angel Gabriel were able to mop up all the remnants throughout the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory and pile them, it would be like Mount Kilimanjaro. That is your country. That's my country.
It is really, really unfortunate, like I say, very, very unfortunate that, in fact, one thing that people said, I mean, during the flood palliatives, the COVID palliatives, people felt it was those whom the government used to distribute these palliatives that had one way or the other to shortchange the people. But we are saying that the SEMA DG went personally to inspect the warehouse. So it means they were aware that we had such excess there in the warehouse, and nobody deemed it fit to use it within the time that, according to them, it would have still been usable. Not now that the people had to pounce on it and it's unfit for them to consume. What exactly is our challenge? Are we going to blame the institutions like SEMA right now, or the people through whom these palliatives was given for the benefit of Biosans?
It's corruption. The issue is corruption. And the basic meaning of corruption is that it just spoils things. Corruption spoils the entire system. It spoils the human beings. It spoils the materials. You just see things get bad. That's what corruption does. In the midst of all this, let us not forget that when the things were not yet expired, when they were still edible and consumable, they did not reach the people because they were being used by those who feel privileged. The people who have busy eating the palliative. It is because they could not finish eating it that they left some behind, and now it has gotten bad. They are coming to discard it after they have consumed the part that they want. They only give droppings so that it will look, and then they publish it. Some of you journalists will help them write and report, so it will look as if it works. They were doing their business very well. The services were being rendered, not knowing that much of it is in their kitchen, is in the kitchen of their cohorts, is in the kitchen and in the parlor and in the bedroom of their followers and of their cronies. And then when they could not consume everything, these are the leftovers, which they thought they will keep for another time. So it continually depend on what should have been for us. And eventually all of us are now part of the wastage.
Again, it's really unfortunate. And like you know, we are in the era of palliatives right now. The president has released the fuel subsidy palliatives to individual states to make do with them and give them to the people. We already know the perception of people as to palliatives in Nigeria currently. But with this excess that wasn't used and now is unfit for people to consume, what do you think the people are going to feel about the government and palliatives generally in this country?
See, I want us to be honest. What I'm about to say now may look too exaggerated, too critical, too negative, but I've always been consistent, and you are all witnesses. The nature of Nigeria is that the incoming palliatives will still go down the way the past palliatives went. COVID palliative, we did not see it. On a general note, we didn't see it. Floods palliative, this is what has happened. And the evidence is there. So nobody will say, Anita said it, Immaculata said it, or Koti accused us. No, it is already evident. The incoming palliative, because of fuel subsidy removal, will go the same way. Why? Not because we can't do otherwise, but because there is a structure that is destructive. Corruption. Unfortunately, that is my prediction. If it works well, God forgive me and let God take the glory. That is, it works different from what I predicted. But as long as analysts, we have viewed Nigeria over the years and we have seen that there is systemic corruption, it will always be bastardized and it will end the same way. By the way, before we leave this point, before we leave this point, there is this linguistic play on palliatives and palliatives. In other words, there will always be thieves that will cut away the palier. That's what will happen. That will be palier, then thieves. It will enter into the hands of thieves, and we call it palier thieves. It won't get to us, unfortunately.
Very unfortunate, and I do hope that this is going to be an eye-opener to the government officials, that is, if they do not know already, so that we can trust them and we know that this palliative that is on the way or they have already received would be given to the people that truly deserve it. Well, let's look at our next issue on insecurity. Academic and commercial activities were put on hold as students of Adeosun Ogundoyin Polytechnic Erua in Oyo State took to the streets over repeated cases of armed robbery, rape and other vices in Ibarapa local government area of the state. The former Commissioner of Works, Bolaji Karim, had in a letter intimated the state governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, of the developments in the area. The letter reads, armed robbers have taken over Erua, forcefully breaking into houses, especially at night, robbing and raping. The government should kindly implore security agents to act swiftly before it spreads to other parts of Oyo State. Special regards to His Excellency Executive Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, for the positive revolution in Ishenyi, Okeogun, and entire Oyo. They stopped by the perceived insensitivity of the government to their plight. The students and their hundreds took to the streets, barricaded the roads linking Erua to other parts of the state. The development resulted in disruption of human and vehicular movement as market stores were forced to be put under lock and key. The protesters submitted that there have been constant robberies going on in Erua every night since the institution resumed for the second semester. The president of the Student Union Government, Comrade Aziz Rilwan, added that in the past 2 months, students have been subjected to untold hardship. According to him, almost all the students' hostel in every city of Erua has been attacked. The unknown robbers cut away students' properties, including phones, laptops, mattresses, and other valuable items. I mean, we are in a very precarious situation in the country. We have a very high level of out-of-school children, and it's more annoying to realize that even those who are in school may be forced to run away because of insecurity. We had similar incidents last week from the River State University, and here the Oyo State. And for them, it's like a normal schedule. It's like a regular thing because this attack is incessant, and students are scared for their lives. What exactly is going on? Because it seems like nobody's doing anything about it until it gets to a point where students can no longer hold it. Like we have them protesting here right now. What exactly is going on? Dr. Okochi.
I'm so sorry. The audio is giving me a little bit of problem. I didn't get you, but it appears you're talking of the Polytechnic in Oyo State, right?
Right.
And the demonstration by students, because there have been incessant attacks of robbery, rape, and incursions into the campus and into their residences and hostels. Did I get you right?
Right.
Sure. This is because of failure of security. And there are two aspects, because I have been a student, I interact with students, and in a way, I'm still a student. I will continue to be a student for life because that is the nature of academics. So let me approach it in two ways. There may be several other ways, but we're on air, and we're limited by time. Number one is, who knows who is conniving with the marauders, with the invaders within the university security network? Because we're not dealing with isolated cases. We're dealing with overwhelming situation that has necessitated students going out en masse in protest, which means it is almost innumerable and uncountable. So where did this start? It must have started somewhere. It is usually, our people say it is the rat that is inside that goes to invite the rat that is outside, that is fish at home. This cannot get to this height, this zenith, this overwhelming nature without connivance. I need to be proved wrong. Without connivance from internal security that has breached the trust. That's one. Secondly, we also know that I said two fronts. Second front, we also know the kind of students that we are raising these days. They are good students when they want to study, but they can be bad and criminal when they want to be criminal. I will not, in my own honor and on my honor, I will not say that there is no single student involved in this breach. Students will definitely have to be involved, either as robbers or as rapers, if there's a word like that, or as invaders. So you find a situation where the students are against the students, and then the security structure is against the students, and the students are merely sandwiched between two devils and two evils. If we need to solve this, we need to investigate and go down to the nitty-gritty. How did this breach start, and who are involved?
Now we're talking about students who should spend their time studying, who should dedicate themselves to improving their lives through their studies. Now, just like you said, they are between the devil and the deep blue sea. What exactly is the management of these institutions doing? The other day, we had the Vice Chancellor of the University, River State University, saying that it was the attack, that nobody was raped, it was just a slap. And the question is, why should just a slap be common?
The is just acting like the microcosm. That's a small portion, a small sample of the leadership that we find in this country. Oftentimes, who cares about what we pass through? Who cares? If you permit me, if it is okay to digress, I will have said that I came from Port Harcourt last week and I came to Osun State. It took me 2 days. The journey started the other day and I arrived the other day. Why? Bad roads. The roads have collapsed because our leaders fly, or they have heavy materials, heavy vehicles that can navigate. So they don't care about those of us who use small things like Okada, Keke, and small vehicles, and we get stuck. Who normally cares? So the management of that polytechnic is a reflection of how the larger leadership of Nigeria treats its citizenry. Nobody cares. You survive on your own. You are a local government on your own. You provide your light, you provide your water, you provide your road, you provide your education, you provide your scholarship, you provide your food. You are just a local, every family is a local government of its own. You provide for yourself. If you can't survive it, that's the way we run this country. I keep saying it, I keep shining my eye on this program all the time. I want someone to hear us. Our leaders are not doing well at the national level, at the state level. So some of these pockets, some of these little samples are merely copying what goes on and what goes around. That's what has happened.
It's really, really very unfortunate. And I do hope that, I wish that the management of these institutions will rise up to the occasion early enough to tackle all of this matters, so we do not have similar issues like we have in the basic schools, the secondary schools, in some parts of the country where parents are not even willing to let their children go to school. It is going to be a very terrible situation for us as a nation. I just hope they will rise up to this occasion. We'll go on a very short break and we will be right back. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network, and the next issue we're taking on is on illegal arms proliferation. The National Commission for the Coordination and Control of Proliferation of Small Arms and Light Weapons has said it's plans to employ and train about 300,000 personnel across the Federation to tackle illegal arms proliferation. The Commission says about 7,000 personnel would be engaged in each state of the Federation, including the FCT. In a statement on Sunday, the Acting Director General of NATCOM, Otumba Adejare Adegbenro, said the idea was to tackle armed proliferation, thereby making the country safe. The statement reads, "We are going to employ about 300,000 personnel across the country to make our nation a safer place. We won't just employ, they will also undergo effective training. This in itself will also reduce the unemployment rate in the country. We should join forces with other security agencies in driving our cause." He noted that those interested should be on the lookout for the Commission's recruitment advertisement. Regarding the employment of 7,000 personnel per state, those interested should be on the lookout for the guidelines on national dailies. But one thing is certain, we are looking for energetic and trainable youth. Well, as good as this looks, because if we look at the fact that the unemployment rate is very high and about 300,000 of these unemployed people are going to be employed by the Commission to tackle illegal arms proliferation, then it gives some hope to those who are unemployed because there seems to be light at the end of the tunnel. Dr. Okochi, what is your take?
You are asking me what is my take, and I'm asking you, and by extension asking the agency, what has been happening before now? Why are we talking of recruiting 300,000 personnel now? Small arms proliferation has been on for years. Do we have, because when I read the literature, I didn't get all this. That's why I'm asking. Maybe even after the program, you will help us and go further. Small arms and light weapons proliferation has been on, and you are talking of recruiting 300,000 personnel to help curb it. What has happened before now, all this while? Are you saying that we didn't have, or you are adding this 300,000 to what is already existing? If there is any existing force, how many are they? Because these are some of the things that in sinner crimes outside of this place, statistics is important. It helps people to really know the seriousness of government. It helps us to know if government was really working, because sometimes governments are culpable in what they are aiming to solve. So we need statistics to tell us what was happening before this proposal to hire or to recruit 300. Was it that you didn't have anything? You were having small arms proliferation, but there was nothing to combat it? Or are you adding the 300,000 to what was already existing? If you are adding to what is already existing, how many are they? Was it 10,000? Was it 20,000? Who is feeding us with good information? You just find people just do things anyhow. It's not going to help this country. That's on one side anyway. The other side is this. Will 300,000 take care of the menace? Have they done statistics, even if it's an estimate, to know how much small arms and light weapons are likely to be in this country over the years with the nature of our borders? Should I say that our borders are porous? Or should I say that they are not porous, but because there are corrupt personnel who can just close their eyes if you tip them? So we are dealing with a live situation. We are dealing with danger, and we are just careless about it. We are just reckless about it. We are just rolling out information so that people can clap. What is 300,000 for the whole Nigeria? That's one side. The other side is you are saying, from what I read, you are saying 7,000 per state. Is it because you think that each state is equal? Is Lagos the same population with Kogi? If you give Lagos 7,000 and you give Kogi, I'm not underplaying I'm only illustrating. If you give Lagos 7,000 personnel and you give Kogi 7,000 personnel, is it the same population? Who is working statistics for us so that statistics will match the situation? I don't understand. And you are asking me what is my take? My take is I don't know what is going on.
It's really, really very unfortunate. But we'll just go on a very short break and we will be right back. To watch on Atlantic Television Network. And before we went on that break, we're talking about the plan by the Commission to check illegal proliferations of light weapons and small firearms by employing 300 personnel, 7,000 from each state, including the FCT, in order to strengthen the fight against proliferation of firearms. Now, Dr. Kochi, you did mention the fact that what are the statistics that has been on ground before we talk about engaging other 300 personnel to join in the fight. Now, if we look at the way things have been done, we've seen that almost all other security outfits has been in the fight against illegal proliferation of light weapons. If we have an extra, which is going to seem like doing the irregular, don't you think we are going to probably have a positive result? You know, they say we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect the same rather a different result. We need to change strategy. We need to come up with new plans on how to do this. Could it be that engaging the 300 persons is the new plan that would save the commission, that would help the commission put an end to illegal proliferation of small weapons, firearms, and light weapons? Will this be another strategy to tackling all of this? I mean, they join forces with the already established security outfits in this battle. Then do you think this is going to give us a positive result, Dr. Okoche?
Hello, Anita.
I can hear you.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Well, like I hinted before, we don't seem to really get the correct and comprehensive picture. We are dealing with literature and information that says the agency is planning to recruit 300,000 personnel to help in the program of curbing the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. The figure we have is 300,000 proposed recruitment. We do not know how many are already in service before this 300,000. Do we have 1 million? Nobody is telling us. Because you see, if they give us that information, it will tell us what we have been doing before this proposed 300,000. Is it 100,000 we have, or is it 10,000? There is no information. So we cannot evaluate the performance as at now. We can't evaluate. And one of the reasons why information is important is that so that we will know whether government is serious or not. Let's assume government says what we have been having is 5,000. It is very clear, even to the demons, it's very clear that government is not serious. But if government tells us that we have 1 million and we're only looking for extra 300, one can give kudos to government. So, but government is hiding this information. So it is not going to help us evaluate government performance as far as this particular bit is concerned. And if they are keeping that information for them, they know why they are keeping it, but we will mark them down because lack of information is simply lack of scores. That's number one, lack of grades. That's number one, like I said before. The second one is, who knows when this will happen? Because that is this recruitment. Who knows when it will happen and how soon? Why? Because proliferation of small arms and light weapons is not new. It has been on for decades in this country. So are we proposing a new idea to an old system? Does that mean that we have been sitting on a keg of gunpowder, we have been causing collateral damages all this while? It is not just now we are waking up. Unless they tell us what has happened before, we will continue to judge the government as inept.
Well, too many questions for the commission to answer. We just do hope that this strategy, this step they are taking is one that will produce positive results. At the end of the day, I mean, we are done hearing stories. We want results. Well, let's get our last issue from the National Assembly. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, has enjoined all stakeholders, including farmers and herders, traditional leaders, and others, as a matter of urgency to nip the age-long conflict between farmers and herders in the country in the bud. The Speaker made the call at the inauguration of the ad hoc committee on Monday in Abuja. The Speaker, who was represented by the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, lamented the severe consequences, including the restriction of farmers from access to their farmlands, leading to food price inflation, unemployment, and a high cost of living in the country, amongst others. Chairman of the ad hoc committee, Honorable Aliyu Bapa Misao, assured that the committee will foster improved understanding between farmers and herders. Well, before we continue with these conversations, let's bring you those excerpts.
Hello?
This is an issue of national importance and it demands urgency. Any sacrifice made to broker peace in our nation is not a wasted effort, for it is in peace and unity that our progress as a nation will thrive. Your core mandate as a committee, therefore, is to uncover the facts, identify the remote and immediate causes of herder-farmer clashes in Yamato, Deva, and other regions of this country. You should interrogate the degree of loss of lives and property, and recommend policy and legislative solutions, including but not limited to what we are not able to have ranches, why we are not able to have ranches as in other jurisdictions. In addition, as you carry out this all-important national assignment, I enjoin you to be guided by the values of integrity, values of fairness, values of social justice. You must do justice to all. Fair hearing must be given to all. Nobody should be given preference over the other, because on both sides, they are very important to our nation building and national economic.
Distinguished stakeholders, I stand before you today on behalf of members of this ad hoc committee to address matters of utmost importance, the issue that resonates deeply with the well-being of our communities and the future of our nation. We are here today not just as representatives of various stakeholders, but concerned individuals unified by a shared commitment. The issue faced by farmers and herders have reached a critical juncture, demanding our immediate attention and collaborative efforts to finding sustainable solution. As chairman of this ad hoc committee, I recognize the urgency and the significance of our task. Our mandate is not just merely to study the long-standing tension between farmers and herders, which has escalated, leading to conflicts over land and resources competition for grazing areas and water resources, which has resulted in violence and loss of lives and property on both sides. Distinguished stakeholders, I stand before you today.
I am so happy to see that the National Assembly, specifically the House of Representatives, is taking this step, because it seems like there's going to be hope. It seems like there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, because this is one challenge that has lingered for too long than is necessary. Considering the effect of this challenge on the nation's economy, on the manpower of the nation, we're talking about inflation, and one of the major reasons for this is this conflict between the farmers and herders, the fact that farmers can no longer have access to their farmlands. Herders, on the other hand, are also suffering their own losses. All of this shouldn't be what we just play around with. It's not something to play politics with. It is something to be really, really bothered about. And for the National Assembly, the House of Representatives to come up with these at a time, is there hope for Nigerians, especially with respect to the herders-farmers conflict? Dr. Okochi.
Sorry for that little break. It's a network issue. Now, there was something I saw before I really go into the matter. I'm trying to be quick because of time. Before I go into the matter you are posed before me, when I read the information about it, I saw something like to nip the matter in the bud, and I was like, is this a journalistic error or what? What are you meaning with the bud? The farmer herders conflict has been on. I mean, those who were born when it started, they are doing good service now, and you are saying that talking of nipping it in the bud. That's wrong choice, but that's by the way. The issue now is this. This farmer-herder clash almost all over the country has become quite politicized. The reason is, I think, this is my personal opinion, I think that one or two persons are benefiting. They are benefiting. We have had credible information and verifiable objective facts where our herder, who is supposed to be taking care of cattle, has AK-47. So when we are dealing, because this, what I'm mentioning is that it's relating to the other matter we just left. You are dealing with small arms and light weapons, and someone who's supposed to be taking care of animals I expect a staff or a stick. That's what the Bible says. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. That's all I expect. But I'm not thy rod and thy AK-47, they comfort me. But we find this. So someone is benefiting. That's why this conflict will not. You see, one thing about conflict, so we can quickly end. One thing about conflict, especially when it has to do with violent conflict, is that there are supplies. And as long as there are supply chains, you can't end it. But once you end the conflict, you end the supply chains and the benefits that come from the supplies. Somebody somewhere is making gains out of it. That is why it's becoming a protracted matter. If the Speaker of the House of Reps and his team, this outcome committee, if they want to be honest and sincere, let them forget, first of all, I'm not saying they should abandon, but they should forget, first of all, solving the problem and go into what caused it and who are the people fueling it. If we do not remove the spider and we keep clearing the cobweb, we will have more cobwebs until we kill the spider.
Well, we hope that the committee that has been set up to handle this responsibility is not just going to look at the surface, but is going to do an in-depth analysis into what exactly is the reason for this off and on conflicts between farmers and herders. And we really do hope that, again, like Dr. Okochi has said, this is not going to be politicized, but for the interest of Nigerians, for the interest of our economy, this is going to be achieved positively. Well, this is the much we'll take on today's program. Thank you so much, Dr. Okochi, for being a part of it.
I appreciate it. Thank you sincerely.
You're welcome. And thank you, our viewers, for being out there. We hope you had a great time with us. And in a moment from now, we'll be going in for international tidbits. I am Anita Obari. If you missed anything, don't worry. Just follow us on our social media platforms, Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok at Atlantic TV Network 1. And do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress.